like to welcome you all tonight here. As Jennifer said, my name is Stephen Mogden. In my day job, I'm a lawyer practicing with Stringham Law here in Lethbridge. I have, though, moderated one or two of these things in years past, and it's my distinct pleasure to moderate this program tonight. I'll speak shortly on the details of our program and our ground rules, but before I do that, I'd like to make some other introductions and words of appreciation. So first of all, our format features questions from some of our terrific local media over here to my right and your left, and I'd like to take a moment to introduce and thank the assembled members of our Fifth Estate for being here. So on the left side, Jeanette Rocher with Bridge City News. Thank you, Jeanette. In the middle, we have Joe Manuel with the Lethbridge Herald, and then on the right-hand side, we have David Opinko with Lethbridge News Now. Let's give him a round of applause. I'd like to express to our candidates our gratitude for them being here tonight. These campaigns involve a lot of work, a lot of running around, a lot of appearances, and so you can be assured that their time is really at a premium, and so we very much thank them for being here tonight to answer your questions. So give them a round of applause in advance for that. And of course, I'd like to thank all of you for being here tonight. Your engagement is critical. Those who seek to represent you are answerable to you, and this is one of your best chances to ask our candidates their positions and what their plans are for the future of our city. So thank you for taking advantage of this opportunity. Our format tonight is a fairly traditional library debate type format. It's going to involve an introductory speech from the candidates. They'll each have 4 minutes to give introductory remarks to you. We'll go in alphabetical order by surname, and I think that involves going to Quinton first, right? So, and then, yeah, we'll cycle through all those. After the introductory addresses, we'll get into our Q&A session. So that'll run until about 7:45. We'll begin with our media panel, so we'll have all of our media ask a question, and then we'll rotate between audience questions and panel questions. There is a microphone set up at the back of the room there, and that's where you'll ask your questions from so that everybody can hear that. A few notes on how we handle the questions. As moderator, I get to reserve to myself the right to alternate between audience questions, media panel questions, and maybe even my own questions as I see fit. Sometimes we can have follow-up to those questions, but don't expect that, in part because we will have rebuttals to the questions. So candidates will have 2 minutes to respond to each question asked of them. Jonathan up in the back is going to hold up colored signs. Some of you have gone through this before, some of you have not. So those signs will let you know how much time is left for you to answer your question. When you're asking a question, this is particularly for the audience members, I ask you to ask that question within 30 seconds. If you're not able to get it out within that time period, that's really going to be a bit of a problem and drag us out. So I'll probably harass you to get to your question if you're taking a long time. In terms of rebuttals, so when there is a question that's answered by one of the candidates, the other candidates have a rebuttal card that they can play, up to 2 rebuttals per question, and those rebuttal times will be 2 minutes for those. Once we've gone through that question period, then we'll get to our closing remarks. I'll address any remaining housekeeping issues, and then we'll hear from the candidates for their closing remarks. That'll be 3 minutes each for those. And so, yeah, without further ado, let's get to our opening statements. So that'll be Quinton Carlson first, and you have 4 minutes.
Okay, and hello. Thank you to the library and to Stephen for leading this important conversation. Our city is in a transition. We're growing fast, reaching over 111,000 residents in 2024. That growth is excellent news, but it also creates immense pressure. I'm running because we need a leader who can manage that pressure with clear, focused action, not just talk. My campaign is built on 3 pillars that directly address your concerns: public trust, livable affordability, and a resilient local economy. In public trust, we must accelerate the positive trend in public safety. We saw the crime severity index drop by 19% last year. We need to keep that momentum going through clear investments and accountability. My plan for public trust involves 3 targeted actions. I will personally lobby the provincial and federal governments to secure partnership funding for the LPS master plan infrastructure. I will champion the co-responder model. We launched the pilot phase in the downtown core, sending trained mental health professionals alongside officers to crisis calls. I will ensure City Hall accessibility by championing hybrid town halls, holding public meetings both in public spaces and online, so every single resident can participate in decisions. For livable and an affordable city, affordability is the single biggest strain on families here. We fix affordability by changing how City Hall handles development. We need 3 changes to deliver housing supply faster. I will launch a review to simplify all our zoning and permitting bureaucracy. We cut the red tape that drives up costs. We will fast track all housing first permits. We believe shelter is a human right, and rapidly providing stable housing is the most effective way to address social disorder. I will remove unfair rental barriers. We tackle the critical shortage of pet-friendly rentals by leveraging incentives and innovating screening programs to help responsible tenants keep their families together and reduce animal shelter strains. For a resilient local economy, a safe, affordable city requires a strong, stable tax base. We must protect and grow our local economy. My economic focus is on accountability, support, and partnership. I will host quarterly roundtables with small business owners. I will listen directly and remove the roadblocks they face. We will audit city procurement processes to ensure local businesses get a fair chance at local contracts. And finally, I'll establish a cooperative business development office to provide the crucial mentorship and tools necessary for entrepreneurs to create new co-op businesses and housing models in Lethbridge. Lethbridge needs focused energy, and clear execution. I am ready to deliver these pillars of action. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
All right, thank you very much, Quentin Carlson. That takes us to next in line alphabetically, who is also our incumbent, Blaine Higgin. Your 4 minutes.
Thank you very much, and thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. We just heard that there's a Blue Jays game on, so if somebody could put up their hands if there's a score or something, and make sure that we all get to know. So thank you very much.
No, I'm recording it.
You're recording. Actually, I was doing the same thing. So, right. So good evening again. Thank you for joining us here tonight, and thank you so much, Stephen, for acknowledging that we're gathered on the traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy. Appreciate that. My name is Blaine Higgin, and it's been my honor to serve you as mayor for these past 4 years. I was born and raised right here in Lethbridge. I built businesses here, raised my family here, and like so many of you, I've invested my heart and my soul into this community. When I first ran for office, I promised to bring common sense, fiscal responsibility, and teamwork to City Hall. I said I'd focus on practical solutions, not politics, and I've stayed true to that. Over the past 4 years, we faced some real challenges. Rising costs, community safety concerns, and the lasting impacts, of course, of the pandemic. But through all of it, we worked together to keep our city strong, stable, and moving forward. We've taken a hard look on how to spend every dollar, making sure taxpayers get value for their money. We've reviewed our services, reduced inefficiencies, and made the tough choices that protect our financial future, without losing sight of the people and programs that make Lethbridge such a great place to live. But fiscal responsibility isn't just about balancing books. It's about creating the foundation for a safe and thriving city. And I know that one of the biggest concerns I hear from residents in every neighborhood is public safety. That's why we've made that one of our top priorities. We've increased the police resources where they're needed most, and supported initiatives that get officers out into our community, building trust, preventing crime, and responding quickly when people need help. We've strengthened partnerships between police, social agencies, and health providers, because enforcement alone isn't the full answer. Compassion and connection are what matter as well. We've supported new approaches to address addiction and homelessness, including working closely with the Indigenous partners, the province, local organizations, to ensure that those struggling on our streets can access treatment, housing, and of utmost importance, hope. and we continue to advocate strongly for provincial and federal support to make sure the needs of Lethbridge are heard and they're met. At the same time, we've been working hard to grow our economy. We've attracted new employers, expanded opportunities in the agri-food and innovation sectors, and continue to invest in the infrastructure that supports future growth, including our industrial parks and our airport. For every job created means more opportunity and a stronger, safer community for all of us. As we look ahead, the next term will be about balance. Continue to make responsible financial decisions while investing in the priorities that matter most: public safety, economic growth, and the well-being of our families. My vision is for Lethbridge is that it is safe, strong, and mostly sustainable. A city where small businesses can succeed, where families can afford to live and thrive, and where our young people see a future full of opportunity right here at home. I'm proud of how far we've come, but I still know there's a lot more work to do. I'm asking for your support to continue building on that progress that we've made together, with integrity, transparency, and utmost a steady hand at the table. Together we can keep Lethbridge moving forward with optimism and accountability. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Blaine Higgin. That takes us to our third candidate. That's Ryan Minnie. Ryan, you have 4 minutes.
Is this mic on?
It was, there we go. All right.
Now you got 4 minutes.
All right. Thank you, and before I begin, I want to say thank you for everyone for attending tonight. This is an important moment in our city's future, and you know, this session, this opportunity to speak to you does not disregard in any means, from my perspective, the great work that's been done here in this community over the years, the great people that are in this room, the work that you've spent and the time that you've taken to be here to listen to us, but also the people that are in this room, back to the people that are here. I've got some very young people that are here. It's great to see them part of this process, but there's also people in this room that are part of the process running for other positions as well. So with that, I have the utmost respect for everyone in the room. But tonight, and on October 20th, you're being asked 3 important questions. Do you want an end to unsustainable tax increases? Do you believe it's finally time to build a third bridge? And do you believe we deserve a safer, stronger downtown? For 5 months, I've been door knocking, asking the same questions at your doors, and your answer has been loud and clear: Lethbridge is ready for a change. You're ready for a change because your property taxes have gone up year after year after year, driven by an administration that went nearly $50 million over budget on just 3 projects. That's an additional $1,200 bill sent to every single taxpayer for that mismanagement. You're ready for a change because you're stuck in traffic, knowing that the third bridge, a project you gave a clear mandate for in 2021, has seen no action, and a downtown core where families and businesses feel less safe. This isn't just a broken promise, it's a failure of leadership. That's why I'm running. I was raised here, and my wife and I chose to come back to my home to raise our family. You may know my voice from the radio, but what you need to know tonight is that I have 2 terms of city council experience. When I was part of a team that helped a community navigate tough economic times by building major projects like new hospitals and BC Hydro infrastructure totaling $2 billion. Proactively created an airport commission, a creative industries council, and successfully attracted new industry to replace lost jobs. I know how to bring accountability, and I'm ready to lead from day one. This election isn't just about what's broken, it's what we can build together. I believe in the spirit of this community, a city that looks out for each other, that supports small businesses. It's a city that deserves a modern performing arts center to replace the Yates, which was built for a community 3 times smaller than what we are today. It's time we build a stage that not only attracts, major national tours to our city, but more importantly, gives our own incredible local singers, dancers, musicians, and actors a professional venue that is worthy of their immense talent. On October 20th, send a message loud and clear: Lethbridge is ready for new ideas. Lethbridge is ready for leadership that listens. And Lethbridge is ready for change. I truly believe the best is yet to come for our city. I'm ready to get to work to make the next 4 years our most exciting and prosperous yet. My name is Ryan Menny. With your vote, we will begin our city's next great chapter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Menny. That takes us to our the last of our 4 candidates. That is Michael Petrakis. Michael, your 4 minutes, please.
Holy, holy. Okay, thank you. I've been preparing my entire life for this moment. Good evening, friends and neighbors of Lethbridge. Let's take one shared breath of gratitude together for this city and for each other, shall we? My campaign isn't only about what I can do for 4 years. It's about discoveries already evidenced, ready for us to verify together. My goal as mayor isn't control. It's about giving the power back to the people by rebuilding the civic infrastructure our democracy needs. What this means for everyday life: money, housing, safety, and voice. On money, we'll cap City Hall's share of property tax to the cost of living and publish the math every quarter. On affordable housing, we'll fast-track 21-day approvals for secondary suites, launch a good landlord charter and relief fund, and push the province for fair rent caps so renters and good landlords both win. On mobility, we'll fix what we have first, with adaptive lanes and smarter signals before any new bridge or tax hike is even done. Now let's talk about the real cost of doing nothing. Every year, Lethbridge loses nearly $1 billion managing unemployment's fallout. Crime, ER visits, cleanup, lost productivity. By creating 2,500 jobs, we cut unemployment by half and save $500 million a year, reducing crime and restoring safety, purpose, and dignity. That's why we'll strengthen co-response teams, pairing clinicians and officers, and make sure every path out of addiction leads directly into paid apprenticeships. And that's why fairness isn't just moral, it's math. This is the 7% fair tax charter. One fair rule for everyone, families and multinationals. It cuts the average family's tax load in half, makes big corporations finally pay their share, and brings in $160 million more for our city with no new tax hikes. That new capacity becomes our community's solutions portfolio, projects we co-design and verify together. Healing sanctuaries, food biodomes, hemp agriculture, and maker innovation centers. Every dollar circulates through work that creates purpose. Now here's where we keep every promise accountable. We'll verify everything through a citywide public peer review. Professors test, students double check, residents see results in plain language. That same process will guide every future decision we make together. On day one, we'll open the Citizen Inquiry Office, where every question is logged, scored for fairness, and answered in public. 8 full-time ward fellows, 1 per quadrant, keep the system connected through 13 sector wisdom councils, ensuring expertise across the board. That's double representation with experts from all sectors for about $1 a month per person. The strain we see in our schools with teachers stretched thinner every year, we also see in City Hall with limited representation for the people. And for less than $1 a month, we can fix the civic side, doubling representation, restoring balance, and bringing care back into design. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Michael Petrakis. And I can't see the sign, so I just need to know the last one is orange, right? Yeah, there we go. Should have brought my glasses. All right, so we're going to get into our Q&A session now. We're going to go to our media panel for the first round of questions. And between the three of you, did you decide who was going first?
No real preference.
Fire away. David?
Working? All right. So I have a question for Quentin Carlson first. So we've seen crime rates falling in Lethbridge over the last couple of years, but of course I think most people would agree that more needs to be done. When it comes to crime, how would you balance community safety and enforcing the law with also supporting the people who might have been led to crime due to things like mental health, addiction, poverty, etc.?
Well, I think those go hand in hand, actually. You can't properly protect the city without taking care of all of its residents. So those that are struggling with addiction, forced into crime through bad situations, they need help just like everybody else does. So I would, with the co-responder model, actually focus on the issues they're facing, reduce their need to do crime, and with the Housing First program would help them get off the streets and into a situation where they can actually get the help they need, get sober, and reduce crime rates in our city.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Quentin Carlson. And just a reminder, you guys have those rebuttal cards if you want to rebut and tack onto that or take issue. You just show me the card, and then we'll go to that. So we'll go back to the media panel. Is it Joe now? Joe Manuel with Lethbridge Herald.
My question is for Mr. Manning. New Bridge and New Performing Arts Center, great. There's benefits, multiple benefits for the community with both, especially with the Performing Arts Center in terms of bringing, we have a really great performing arts scene here, and attracting tourists and even local entertainment. But whenever there's a nice capital project like this, the first question that comes to mind, because I'm in several groups that discuss this, is how much of my property tax is going to go up this time to fund this project? So it's great, but how are you going to fund this without hiking our taxes more? Because there's a perception, real perceived, that we have the lousiest ROI on our property taxes for the cities twice our size. So how do you propose to fund these great projects?
Thank you for the question, Joe, and it's a really good one. You know, it's great to envision what our community is going to look like in 25 years, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, and how we make that happen. With that said, there's a lot of sticker shock out there in the community right now, and I've been hearing that at the doors, and we truly are at a point where we can't ask anymore from the citizens, from the homeowners. We just can't. It's at a point where it's unsustainable, this level of increases. Their salaries are not rising at the same level as what the city is asking for them, what the province is asking for them, or what the federal government is asking of them. So it sounds undoable, but it isn't. You know, if it's needed by the community, it's important to the community, you get that buy-in, and you create a shovel-ready project, then you go after the funding, then you make it happen. And again, in my time on council in Campbell River, we had dealt with the biggest blow you ever could in a resource-based industry community, lost the forest industry, lost the income tax, the revenue, the commercial tax revenue from industry, and from the people who lost their jobs. We still got creative, collaborative, knew what we needed to do in the community, and there was a great need for a hospital in that region and for the region south. We started putting the pieces back together, we connected with the community, and we talked on what was important, the hospital. We went after that funding and we made it happen. So it has to be a key piece to the community's future, and then you just cheerlead. You lead the team, you lead the community, and you make it happen.
All right, thank you very much, Ryan Minnie. And Michael, you want to rebut on that?
Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you. So I would like to make it clear that I am in no way against the third bridge. I'm just focused on fiscal responsibility because it's going to definitely end up on someone's back. If it's federal, if it's provincial, if it's not needed, it doesn't have to be added to any Canadian's taxes. Now, I don't know if anybody else has discovered this, but 12 years ago, they've been using adjustable lane systems, which can adjust the entire lane or the meridian on the West Side Bridge in 10 minutes so that there's 5 lanes flowing into town in the morning and 5 lanes flowing out of town, and that can be ready in 6 months. The third bridge would take 7 years anyway. So I highly advise that we take into sincere consideration upgrading and doing what we have, what we can with what we've got, and in the process, considering whether we truly want to build a third bridge, or instead develop regenerative industry on the west side, as would be done with proper civic engineering. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Michael. We'll go back to our media panel. Jeanette Rocher with Bridge City News.
Yeah, okay. Since we're on the topic of taxes, I'll just throw this one back at Michael. Okay, so obviously a key issue with almost everyone is keeping taxes low, keeping them down. But what do you think is the best way to go about doing this? Is it cutting back on spending? Should certain programs be discontinued? If you were mayor, what would your approach be to that?
Thank you very much. Wonderful question. There's 2 elephants in our room, and one of them is resolved through the 7% fair tax charter. What that means is that 90% of our community, the families, are paying for a large majority of the taxes, and our corporations, these multinational corporations, are using our infrastructure and extracting the value into outside firms, outside of the country even. And if everyone was paying their fair share, 7%, that would decrease property tax by half. And the people of Lethbridge would save $70 million a year, and it would increase Lethbridge budget capacity by $160 million. That means we have half taxes, and we have increased Lethbridge budget by $160 million. That alone would finance so many of our social programs that are so underfunded, including teachers and everything. The second engine of economic prosperity is the unemployment cost burden. What we don't realize, and what I didn't realize until some time ago, is that it costs us 4 times more money to manage the cascading symptoms or effects of unemployment than it does to directly solve them. So for $250 million, we can employ 5,000 people, which is the 5% unemployment rate, and we can save $750 million. That's where we pay for everything that we're essentially fighting over breadcrumbs for. Thank you.
Michael, could you take 20 seconds to just clarify what's the 7% of? Is that an income threshold?
If property tax isn't measured by percent, but if you equate what the average person or household pays in reference to their total income, it comes out to about 15 to 20%. And so a 7% tax would be in reference to that.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so we've been through our media panel now, so we're going to go to an audience question, and then we'll go kind of back and forth. I see we've got at least one person standing up at the microphone, so please, your question, and remember 30 seconds to ask the question, please.
Is this on?
Maybe?
Is it on? Okay. This question is for Blaine. You've been involved in situations where you have ignored conflicts of interest alongside some of your fellow council members, including Ryan Parker and John Middleton Hope. With Shilpa being the project manager of Visit Lethbridge, she's also working on many projects with the city of Lethbridge. Visit Lethbridge is also a supporter of yours via the Mayor's Barbecue and invites to the chuck wagon races on the community dollars. As well as Shilpa is a donor of yours specifically. Did it occur to you that it could be a conflict of interest to rename the arena of the Sportsplex to visitlethbridge.com, considering your personal relationship with Shilpa? And what is Shilpa's role in John Middleton Hope's campaign? Is this another potential conflict of interest?
Can you hear me? There we go. No, thank you very much for that question. And Lethbridge is not so big that we pretty much know most of the people within our community. Shilpa's been a long-term friend of mine. Someone has helped me, is currently helping me with my campaign. That does not mean that there's a conflict when that organization comes to the city and through a procurement process, it wasn't direct award, through a procurement process was given, it was almost $1 million over a 10-year period, 500 and then a renewable, to be able to rename one of our facilities. That was the NMAX at the time, to visitlethbridge.com arena. What that does is that takes the cost off of the citizens. This is not a group that is funded at all, $0 from the city of Lethbridge. No dollars come from the city of Lethbridge. That organization is funded by those hoteliers in the area that use these funds to create more investment and bring folks into our community to stay within their hotels. So that's a great example of where they could use that is at a visitlethbridge.com arena. Events happen there, so of course the hoteliers will invest in that. When it comes to my barbecue, absolutely. I want as many investments as I can so that it takes it off of the taxpayers. So we had folks like the co-op discount for the barbecue. We had visitlethbridge.com arena sponsored $7,000 to have Trevor Padzak come and play on the steps of City Hall. This is a community event, and it costs the citizens nothing, because that was by those in our community that support and work together with those with us to be able to make these things happen. So hope that answers your question.
It does not, but thanks.
Thank you for the question. I apologize for the microphone. I think we all got the question though. So Ryan Menny, I think you wanted to weigh in on that.
Thank you, I did. And so, excuse me. 2 terms of council experience. BC, the model is a little bit different. You go to training at the very beginning of your term. Mayor, council, everyone who gets elected for the next term goes to something called Local Government Leadership Academy. You go there and you find out, what you can get to work on over the next so many years, what your role is, what your job is, what you can do, what you can't do. That in itself lays the key groundwork for your role in the community and how you serve the citizens. Beyond that, we had the opportunity to have a governance expert, his name is George Cuff, come and talk to our council. He was mayor of Spruce Grove a couple of times in a row, further up outside of Edmonton. This guy is like the Elvis Presley of municipal government. It's tough to get excited about it, but dang, this guy, he has a dry wit, He's incredibly knowledgeable. He has the experience not only as a mayor, but as an administrator. What he shared with us and what we learned through Local Government Leadership Academy are two terms: perceived conflict of interest and direct conflict of interest. Through the Municipal Government Act, if you have any connection to an individual, perceived or direct, you cannot vote or speak to those items in council chambers. Go look it up with Mr. Cuff. Give him a call. He's retired now. He's up in Spruce Grove, speaks here and there. But it is very clear. You know the role of mayor and council, where your restrictions lie, and where that perceived and direct conflict of interest will not serve the community, and you are outside the bounds of your role as a member of council.
All right, thank you very much, Ryan. All right, we're going to return back to our media panel. Is that David then? David Opinko with, Lethbridge News Now, yeah.
Question for Blaine Higgin. So it came up in the recent land use bylaw survey, 90% said that housing affordability is a concern, and the top answer for how to address that is to lower property taxes. Now we're in the middle of a 4-year budget cycle with 5.1% annual property tax increases. Will you commit to any changes to property taxes going forward?
Thank you for that. Hello? Thank you for that question. That's not something I personally can do. It's something I would like property tax to be at 0%, like they were for 3 years. 3 years ago, we had a 0.000 and a 1.8, but it's not sustainable. And you know, I could stand here or sit here and tell you all that I'm going to commit to having a 0 property tax or to drop them, but I can't do that. And I'm sorry, but that's would be a conversation that I would have with my colleagues. Now, and if we're able to do it, that's great, find the efficiencies. However, housing stock is what causes taxation to creep up. And what I mean by that is a couple of years ago, we had a 0.4% vacancy rate in Lethbridge. So in order to find a home to either rent or to purchase, there's a limited stock. So based on stock is what your rent is going to be. So for example, if you only have a few locations available, a few spots, houses available to rent, the cost is going to be higher because it's according to availability. So what we need to do is build more. That will bring down, when we have inventory higher, that will bring down the cost to be shared by just those that are the current homeowners, and be able to distribute amongst more. That includes also industry. But in order to have industry move into the city, we need to build more houses. You need to have that space available. And if it's 0.4% a couple of years ago, and I'm not sure what it is now, but, and sorry, it's not much better. But we need to make sure that we build more housing, and that's the only way that we're going to be able to reduce property taxes is by having a larger inventory out there.
All right, thank you very much, Blaine. Are you saying council is the one that can change property taxes? Because I think we've got quorum here tonight.
Yeah.
Don't we?
Actually, we do, and I do want to give a shout, if I could, to my colleagues that are here, and thank you for all their work these past 4 years. Thank you.
All right, so we, Ryan, I saw you raise your card, but just, you may have put that down, is that right? You put it down? Okay. Well, and so just quickly on that, it's 2 total, so I don't know if you want to necessarily do that on this one, but just so you understand that, if we have enough time as we go through the questions and answers, we may get to the point where we can do a 3rd rebuttal for each, but we'll play that by ear. But I'll go to Michael first, and then I'll come back to Ryan.
Thank you. That was 2 rebuttals per topic?
Maximum 2 rebuttals per question, yes.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Thank you. There are no limits to how many ways we can decrease property tax. The only reason we get taxed anything is because our city isn't being run like an investment firm of our hard-working dollars. It's being run like a $6 billion civic economy with part-time oversight. The city councilors aren't even full-time. Let that sink for a second. We don't even, imagine a $6 billion company, and they don't have full-time staff that represent the shareholders. Our representatives are the mission-dependent component of a representative democracy, and we don't have full-time staff. And we pay for them with less than $1 a month. There's a million ways that we can actually invest our community's revenue in ways that generate finances. But if we set up city council as this random panel of experts, as opposed to expert representatives through every social sector, then we're not running like a fine-tuned company or a business or a cooperative. We're just kind of randomly throwing skills to something that requires systemic vision, holistic vision, across all scales of society. And there's so many investments that are just dying for us to pioneer, like indoor food cultivation in a country that can't grow food for 6 months out of the year. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Michael Travis. And then Ryan Meny, your response.
Thank you. I mentioned this comment, and this is coming from 2 terms of experience and watching what's been happening here in Lethbridge the last 11 years that I've been back here, having moved my family back home. I said this phrase in the first podcast that I did, again, months ago, back in May when I started campaigning. I know the problems that we're addressing. I know the issues that people are dealing with, and I'll get to that in just a second, but the system that we're currently using is broken. We cannot keep going the same track that we are and expect different results. The different results are people are leaving Lethbridge, citizens are leaving Lethbridge, businesses are leaving Lethbridge. I was talking to a business yesterday. They are feeling the impact of the 4,000 job losses in the manufacturing sector that has not been addressed. Can we directly bring jobs into Lethbridge as a council? No, we can't. But we can be its biggest champion. We can be the biggest cheerleader. We can make that happen. We can go to the stakeholders and find creative solutions locally and from attracting industry. Where it's broken is this continual path of thinking that it's coming from the taxpayer, and we cannot continue that direction anymore. You have the 4,000 job losses, the spouse, the kids, that's 20,000 people impacted right there. They're not buying things locally anymore. The gym owner that I talked to yesterday, their membership is down. Now they're having trouble paying their taxes. It's a spillover effect. We need to be creative. We need to get our resources hopping. We have the opportunity and so many skills and resources. If we had our tourism sector firing on all cylinders, we would be the jewel of Alberta. We're heading there, but man, again, imagine what this city can be. We have resources. We need to use them. We need to change the model from the taxpayer making everything happen.
All right, thank you very much, Ryan Meny. Okay, we're going to go back to, it's 2 per.
Oh, 2.
Yeah. Next time. You can come back to it if you want. So we'll go to the microphone for the audience member over there. Just please let us know who your question is directed to, and then ask that within 30 seconds.
Sure. My question is for Mr. Meny. You've made lowering taxes a key part of your campaign, but the record from your time on Campbell River Council shows that municipal taxes while you were there rose from 7% in 2008 to 10.21% in 2014 while you were serving. In fact, in 2012, after voting for an over 13% tax increase, you were quoted in the Campbell River Mirror as saying, and I quote, "I learned you can't expect to make everyone happy." And I quote, "Although no one likes a tax increase, in the grand scheme of things, I believe it's palatable because of the city services it provided." So, Mr. Meny, how do you reconcile that record with your promise to reduce taxes here in Lethbridge?
It's a great question, and it's a very fair question. So again, back to what we were dealing with as a community at that time. We lost our forest industry. It was gone. We lost the 60-year-old pulp mill. We lost the 50-year-old sawmill. We lost some of the highest paying jobs in the city. And was it painful to have to do that for a couple of years to keep our city alive? It sure was. Does that mean we didn't do anything? We certainly did. I lost friends. You know, there were decisions that I made that impacted friends who worked for Parks and Rec. They lost their jobs. We couldn't keep services at the level that you would hope that we could because of the severe circumstances that that community was going through. It's still on the map. It's thrived since we went through those first couple of tough years. Is that something I ever want to go through again? It sure is not. Right now, we have citizens that are hurting. We do have resources and other methods of attracting revenue for our community that we haven't tapped into fully. In Campbell River, we had limited options until we created the Creative Industries Council. We got our airport commission rolling. We attracted LNG discussions. We did everything we could in the long term to make that community survive.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Meny. Blaine, you want to do your rebuttal?
Yes, please. I know coming in here, and I've heard quite a bit of the doors at places that Mr. Meny has been, that we have unsustainable tax increases, and we've heard how the tax increases were in Campbell River prior to moving here. But not just that, we talk about, and there's tough decisions that we all make as councils, and it doesn't matter what the city or community that you're in. But one thing is of importance is that if something big comes across, like they lost the industry there, and that's a big thing to lose. And obviously you would have to adjust accordingly, and we've heard by putting it to approving a 13% tax, 13.6% tax increase was part of that. However, we went through something that was quite the struggle, and I'm sure everybody remembers a thing called the pandemic. And during that pandemic, we struggled within our community. We heard loud and clear from business owners and from the community that they couldn't sustain taxes and just costs in general. And so, so during that time, we put taxes down to 0%. 0% for 3 years. It was 1.8, then it went 0, 0, 0. Knowing that eventually we were going to have to play some form of catch-up. And we did do that. And it went up to 5.1 for the next, this is the third year of the 5.1% tax increase. But that was, if you average them out, and I'm not saying that it's a great rate, don't say, well, I'm champion any tax increase, but it's, you know, just around that 2.2% in that average with dealing with the pandemic. So I know when challenges come, we need to roll up our sleeves, we need to do the work that is best for the community, but they're not easy decisions, as we've heard. A 13.6 had to approve a 13.6% tax increase. It's not an easy decision to make. We stayed with that 0% because we knew that it was not sustainable for the citizens of Lethbridge and the businesses. And so it's something I just wanted to talk about is you know, the unsustainable tax increases that I hear Mr. Meny talk about on a regular basis here. I think we've done pretty good, and I'm giving a shout out to my colleagues, many of them that are here, for the hard work that we've did in order to keep that sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael, you've already rebutted twice. Yeah. So we got to get to a couple from Quentin and Blaine again, and then we'll look at doing a third round of rebuttals. In the meantime, we'll go back to our media panel. Joe, with Lethbridge Herald.
This is Mr. Carlson. How will you ensure that all voices, especially those from marginalized communities, are heard in your decision making? There's a common complaint from all around these days that nobody is listening to us. So whether that's marginalized communities or even people who are on the other side of the issue. So let's look at the roles of folks. You can see what I mean. So
Yeah, I'm on there. So that's why I wanted to champion the hybrid town halls. That's a place, so we'll be going to community locations like the library here, west side, north side, to get those voices, to be able to have everybody's voice heard in the city. And the other aspect of that is the online portion, to remove the barriers for people who can't get out, can't go at a certain time to a certain place for a meeting. You can log in from your home computer, from your device, and have your voice heard every chance you get.
All right. Thanks, Quentin Carlson. And so, yeah, we'd need a rebuttal from Blaine if we were going to have one, but we don't. So we'll go to the microphone. And just before you ask your question, sir, is it possible for someone to come look at our mic up here? Perfect. Yeah, because that seems to have cacked up. All right, at the microphone in the back. Yes, sir. And let us know who the question is to.
Hi, my name is Les Elford. I have been fortunate and privileged enough to raise my family, my wife and I, here in this lovely city for the last 60 years plus, and have my children have a decent career as well, that are now adults. Recently, I saw a news video, I guess, that appeared to be legitimate. It's hard to tell today. That was titled, "The 10 cities in Alberta that are going to suffer the most if a economic crash or fall occurs." And Lethbridge was identified as number 3 out of those 10. So my question is to Blaine, as part of the city, is if you are aware of that particular scenario, and if not, even if it's hypothetical, or is there any major announcement that the citizens of Lethbridge can expect in terms of economic development in Lethbridge?
All right,
fairly
thank you
quickly.
very much for the question. Blaine, take it
Yeah,
whichever way you want.
thank you very much for that question. I'm sorry, is it Elford? Thank you very much for that question. Yes, I did see that. It was an economic development post that came out from Ottawa, and it mentioned that we were going to be one of the top 10 communities. This is in Canada, not even in Alberta, in Canada, that was going to suffer. And the reason for that is we've got our trade corridor being just south of the border into the U.S. is very large. It's one of the largest border crossings in Canada as far as agriculturally speaking. So we've seen that loud and clear. As a matter of fact, this Saturday I'm meeting with Mr. Corey Reeves. He's the mayor of Great Falls, and he's going to be up in Lethbridge, and we're sitting down and chatting about some of these things, because it's extremely important that we have those relationships, cross-border relationships, to be able to understand, not that he can make the decision or I can make the decision, but I can go up to other levels of government to find out these answers. And so Mr. Reeves, Mayor Reeves, is going to be coming up this weekend to chat a little bit about these exact concerns that we have. They're getting better because, of course, we've got a fella south of the border that is always shouting that it's going to, we're going to hit more tariffs, and then relaxes a little bit and throws it in our face again. So we just need to make sure that we're prepared for that. And with these conversations, he can touch base with his leaders, and I can touch base with our leaders here in Canada and try to get that figured out. So I appreciate the question. We'll keep working all we can to make sure that we are least affected of these 10 communities. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Blaine. And Quentin Carlson wants to rebut on that.
Yeah, these are issues that are very real. We are very exposed to outside markets and any sort of external trade disruption. That's why I'm wanting to invest in our local community, with local businesses and local cooperatives, to ensure that business is done here, protect our economy from things going on south of the border, and keep those supply chains with Lethbridge residents. So when we do see that success, that success is with Lethbridge residents, and when there is global trade turmoil, we are sheltered from that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Quentin. Michael, you still got to wait until we get to a third round of rebuttal cards. So I think we're going back to our media panel. So Jeanette Roche, do we have? Can you shout? Can you shout?
Okay, I'll just shout it out.
Oh, here we go.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you kind of brought it up there, Blaine, dealing with U.S. cross-country, or cross-border traffic, rather. Any thoughts on how to best deal with the U.S. tariff situation, which has impacted our local manufacturing sector among so many other industries?
Thank you so much for that, Jeanette. And just like I said previously, is just to make sure that we're in touch with those that are making the decisions. And so I myself can't make those changes, but having the agri-food corridor is extremely important in southern Alberta. So we do need to make sure we touch base with our provincial leadership and federal leadership, those that are actually connecting with those leaders in the U.S. And so if it's working with the mayor across the border here in our twin city in Great Falls, so that he can pass that information along, that's what's important. So I have about 11 questions for him that he can pass along to his leadership, and again into within the U.S. and try to get some of those answers back. Honestly, I wish I could be the one to make these decisions, but we're there to be able to advocate on behalf of the citizens and the businesses within our community. So we'll continue to do that, make the trips to Edmonton, haven't made them to Ottawa, but we'll make sure that we get those with our local leadership and MPs to take that information forward. So anything that I hear from him this weekend, Mayor Reeves, I'm going to be passing along to our MP to make sure that she gets that information to Ottawa and also to our local MLAs.
All right, thank you very much, Blaine. I think that's going to take us back to our audience microphone. Do we have somebody ready for? Oh, we need the mic for it.
Just hold it? Okay, I gotcha. Okay, good. So my name's Michelle Day Miles, and I've been in an active involvement in our tourism industry here and around Lethbridge. So our destination management organization, Tourism Lethbridge, has been a leader in our community to support residents, build arts and culture, and attract investment. Currently, the Tourism Lethbridge role and scope with the city has been blurred. There's branding confusion amongst the city, and there is opinions of how destination marketing funds should be used for and by our community. So for all the mayor candidates in leadership roles, what engagement or governance mechanisms could you lead to collaborate success to ensure our destination management organization is there and support our community-led growth?
Thanks for the question, but can you direct it to a particular candidate?
I can't ask all of them? Can I ask two of them?
You can ask one of them, and then hopefully the other one has a rebuttal card.
All right, let's go with the newbie, Ryan.
Thanks, Michelle. So this is an example of one of our biggest, I want to say untapped, but not fully realized resources. This is where Lethbridge can really up our game. A regional tourism strategy like never seen before in this community. When you get all of your partners, I've used this term before, firing on all cylinders, when everyone is committed for the same goal of making Lethbridge the most amazing destination in Alberta, if not Western Canada, we have that ability. We have the facilities. We have the partners. We need a cohesive plan to connect all of those pieces to be on the same page and champion this community and what we have to showcase the world. On top of that, new ideas, collaboration. Talk to the folks that are here. Hear their new ideas. we're stuck in the past. The city grew too fast. A lot of people are treating Lethbridge like a town. We're a city of over 110,000 people. We have so many resources that are untapped. We have so much to bring to the province and to the country and showcase what we can do here in Lethbridge when we work together.
Thank you very much, Ryan Menny. Quentin or Blaine? Nope. You don't have to. All right, then we'll go back to
You know
our-
what, I think she wanted to hear from two, so I think that second person is probably me, I would say. So, right now, currently with tourism, it's something that the tourism, Lethbridge is currently under a review. And what that review is doing, and it's our responsibility of council to make sure that different organizations are reviewed, to make sure that the fee-for-service agreements and agreements that we have with these different organizations are done, or getting the best value for their dollars. That's to the citizens. And so there's two currently under review, and tourism is one of those. And it would really be inappropriate of me until we get these answers back and from the consultant that is doing this review to say much more than understanding tourism is a very important part of our community, and I can't emphasize that enough. However, this review will come back and might say, we need more dollars. You need to put more dollars into it. And this is why the external review is currently taking place, to make sure that we are spending the money wisely, because it's not our dollars, it's the citizens of Lethbridge. So we want to make sure that all of those dollars that are coming in for tourism is going to be spent in the best way possible. And it may come back and say, we need additional dollars. You need to put more into it. And so collaborative work together with provincial leadership and ministers, I speak to them on a regular basis that are head of tourism, to just make sure that we're going down the path the right way. And we've been told that we are, and so this review will be able to really help us with decisions moving forward as far as planning and financial implications or additional financial dollars that are required.
All right. Thank you very much, Blaine, for that. Michael, we're just about there. Yeah, we're just about there. Just talk to Quentin. We'll get that going. We're back to Lethbridge News now with David Opinko, I think.
I've personally heard from a number of residents. I guess this will be a question for Ryan Menny. I've heard from some residents who believe that the current Lethbridge City Council is not adequately listening to the needs and the wants of the residents. So I was just curious how you would look to improve accountability and transparency with the public.
Thank you, David. So 30 years as a radio guy, communications. I know what it's like to be an effective communicator. I know the response you get as a radio guy, but more so as a city councillor when you are not communicating effectively. When you are not getting the message across clearly, but also when you're not listening. And so much of your role on council, mayor and council, hold them accountable. They need to be there 365 days a year, 4-year terms for that entire time, listening to you, the taxpayer, the businesses. If that is disconnected, you get frustration in the community. And that's what I've been hearing for 5 months. People, even in the campaign period, I've never had someone come to my door, ever, in any election campaign. I've never been able to even shake their hand and meet them. That's a disconnect. So whether it's through communications, whether it's through direct one-on-one sit-down chat sessions, we lose that ability to hear the true problems that our people are going through, and it's a guessing game for 4 years. Stop the guessing game, hold your mayor and council accountable, and make sure that we keep that two-way communication open and hear your concerns and address them.
All right, thank you very much, Ryan. Quentin Carlson has opted to use his second rebuttal card, so that'll be 2 for everybody. So we could have a little discussion about having a third rebuttal. So, but we'll hear from Quentin first.
So I actually recently read a study done in North America that said the average person, so most of us in this room, exert as near zero in political influence on their own lives. That's concerning. That's concerning that you do not control, you have no say in what goes on in your own political life. That's a core of my campaign, is bringing that power back to the people. I want to reconnect the city with City Hall and ensure all voices get heard in all discussions that matter. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Quentin. You know what, let's just open up and we'll say everybody's got 2 more, okay? I think everybody likes this back and forth, right? Do you want to now?
Sure.
Michael, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. So let's see if I can rebuttal all the rebuttals that I had coming up.
2 minutes.
Okay, so I moved to Lethbridge when I was 7 years old from the island of Crete in Greece, and I moved back there when I was 17 for a decade. So I worked in tourism for half my life, and my understanding is if you have something beautiful, and that's enough. If you build it, they will come. You can't have tourism when people are smoking fentanyl on the streets. It's not cool. We fix that, and the people will come. We fix the suffering, and the byproduct is flowering. So if we have world peace shrines at the river bottom, but we destroy them because they're destroying or damaging the invasive species, and then we're talking about building a $300 million bridge over the nature reserve, there's a little bit of hypocrisy, maybe, or something. Maybe just not a disconnect. I say we build a gondola across the high-level bridge. No kidding. If people could have the experience of being on top of the bridge and seeing that view, they call it I think the overview effect. It's like a state of awe where you suddenly remember why you're alive and what's beautiful. Everyone can have that, and that's how we use what we already have and optimize it. In any case, in terms of property tax and the challenges that Lethbridge faces, I highly recommend we invest in a regenerative industry because the corporations don't care about us. They don't care about you. They would prefer to automate everything and let you go by the wayside. Next. This is about how we take back the automation, because the automation was designed so that we could free ourselves from monotonous, hard labor and actually prosper from the innovations of thousands of years of intelligence that
2
developed
minutes.
this technology.
I'm automatically saying that's 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, we're going back to an audience question at the microphone there. Just wait for the... No. Two per question. All right, so let us know who your question is directed at, and 30 seconds to ask the question, please.
Okay, my name's Cheryl Bradley. I'm with the Southern Alberta Group for Environment. My question's directed to Blaine Hagan. Citizens of Lethbridge depend on the Old Man River for a water supply, for waste assimilation, and for an amazing recreation resource, which our last speaker referred to. A healthy, resilient river is key to a healthy community. Land uses upstream of Lethbridge in the Old Man watershed, including proposed coal mining and increased diversions for expanded irrigation agriculture, threaten river flow and water quality. And there's also the risk of increasing drought with climate change. How will you address these increasing challenges?
Well, first off, as I look across here to one of my colleagues and something that he says, and I like to use it time and time again, Councillor Parker over here, he says, we're experts at listening to the experts. Me personally, I don't have the answers to that. But what we need to do is stay in touch with folks like yourself and those that are experts in this field. Because we have had a couple of resolutions that we have sent up, 2 motions, as somebody would remember them as being, up to the province to say that anything that will damage our water source and the quality of the water, we need to be against. And we've heard everything from coal to other things that is going to damage that source. And so it's important that we listen to those experts. And again, I'm not an expert in that field, but it's important that I listen to folks like yourself and others that can share the importance and what we need to do to keep our water safe and flowing safe. And I know some of the work that we've done is we've increased communication with our province in order to get additional funding for water treatment facilities, etc. That's in addition to just keeping it safe and secure, the water source, but to not damage our water source, we need to cut anything out that's going to damage that. So listen, be an expert at listening to the experts. So thank you very much for your question.
All right, thank you very much, Blaine. Anybody want to rebut on that? Michael, that'll be your last one until we...
All right, here goes nothing.
Go for it.
Before I just get to that, I'm just going to jump to the reason why property tax likely went down during COVID when our country was investing billions of dollars in lockdowns. And that's because we weren't paying for it. It was paid for. We had our lockdown paid for us. And no, the lockdown didn't end. That's why you don't have actual access to any of the city councilors. You have to talk to their people who will talk to their people and no answer. It's still on lockdown. You can't even go upstairs in City Hall now to talk to the event coordinator because of safety reasons. It was paid for so it would stay locked down because get used to it or resist. The other thing about environment, one of the biggest multinational drug companies is now in the business of agriculture, Monsanto, and they produce all the chemicals that are destroying our basic needs, resources, water, air, everything. So they're dumping chemicals through every single farm all across Canada, and then we're wondering why we're drinking it and why we have to then pay millions of dollars to remove it. And then we pay millions of dollars to put chemicals into the water that supposedly cleans it, and then those chemicals going back. But in Germany, they had a Nuremberg code, a Nuremberg law, which says, thou shalt not medicate without informed consent. So no, we should not have fluoride, chlorine, any chemicals unless you are saying it's okay. And if you want extra chemicals in your water, I recommend just putting it in your water, but not making everyone else drink it. And we have reverse osmosis, we have distillation technologies, we can purify water. We can collect the rain.
All right, thank you very much, Michael Petrakis. It's going to take us back to our media panel. I think the paper of record for Lethbridge Herald, Joe Manuel. Yeah. We've got the microphone coming.
This one is for Mayor Hagan. Recent Herald poll indicated that approximately 50% of those who responded want municipal candidates to declare their party affiliations. What are your thoughts on introducing partisanship into the municipal level?
Thank you for that question. And absolutely, I'm against what you're seeing in Calgary and Edmonton, party system. I'm in Lethbridge. I'm in Lethbridge where this is what I love about municipal government, is there's things that I don't have a party that I want to chase down, because following a party, if it's wearing a stripe, is something I'll never want to do. Because none of them, to be quite honest, have what I believe is right for our community. There's many things, social things that we need to do that maybe one party may not support. And there's other fiscally conservative things that another party might not support. That's what the joy is about living in a community and working in a community at a municipal level, is we don't have to worry about that crap, to put it bluntly. We can actually work together with teams. I look at my colleagues, and again, many of them that are here, we're very diverse in our ideas. But there's a respect around that horseshoe that we're able to communicate with one another and find out what really is what they like to support. And all of us have different ideas. But you know what? We always come to a resolution. We might not all raise our hands the same way, but I'll tell you this, we're respectful for the decision, and we move forward with the decisions that we make. And so I am so glad we don't have party politics here, and I'm sure that's a very long answer to that, but let's just work for the community of Lethbridge and not wear any stripes, because I'm sure that many of us aren't completely supported by any of the stripes out there. So thank you for that question.
All right, thank you very much, Blaine. And that's going to be, actually got Quentin first, and then we'll go to Ryan after.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Blaine just said. You know, so signing up with a party, you're now forced to do anything that the party agrees with. Maybe not forced, but highly recommended. And frankly, I don't agree with the party system at any level of government. At the federal, provincial level, you are not represented unless you voted for that party. Your representative looks out for their party. They aren't looking out for their constituents. And so I do agree with keeping it out of municipal politics. I understand, it makes it easy to know who you support, but let's look at the issues, not the colors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Quentin Carlson. Then we'll go to Ryan Menny.
Thank you. I'm going to say this in a way that I don't want misconstrued. You can go too far the other direction so that your provincial and federal reps don't even know you exist. And I'm going to bring this up in relation to the bridge. I'm going to bring this up in relation to the major infrastructure that we need done here. It's past due. It's not, is this a nice to have? 4 years ago, 60% of the people in a citywide survey said, we need a third bridge. The west side, in the council's wisdom of the day, had development made when that bridge was made in the 70s and 80s. Guess what, city and council, you now have 45,000 plus people on that side of the river. That's the largest piece of Lethbridge compared to north and south. You can't disregard them. So saying we don't need to have that discussion with our provincial and our federal counterparts and wait until things look good on paper or we feel we have the backing of the community, we're already behind. We're years behind. What we're missing out on right now with our lack of direct championing this cause to our federal government, they're handing out major infrastructure project funds right now because we are so close to a recession. They're like doing what it was during the dirty 30s heading into wartime to get productivity going again. They're building, and they're building a lot. And with that strong connection to our federal counterpart, we could be making happen what we know our city needed years ago.
All right, thank you very much, Ryan Menny. That's two rebuttals on that question of party affiliation. So we will go to, we're going to the microphone for an audience question. So please tell us who it's directed to and 30 seconds to ask the question.
Okay. Hi, Dale Martin-Zelke. I have family in Campbell River, and they signed a petition. I'll read you the petition. Campbell River City Councillor Ryan Menny has taken a new job and has moved to Lethbridge, Alberta. This is directed to Ryan Menny. He has stated that he will stay on as a city councillor, attending council and committee of the whole meetings electronically until the end of his term. The petition is to represent the citizens of Campbell River who believe that the councillor Menny is abusing the provision in a city bylaw to remain as a paid member of the Campbell River City Council and represent the desire of the same citizens to have Councillor Ryan Meny resign his seat as a member of council in the best interests
Can we have
of
your
Campbell
question,
River
please?
taxpayers.
The question, please.
How does that relate to your, that you just talked about accountability and taxpayers? So my question to you is, what is that situation about, and did you take advantage of the citizens of Campbell River while living in Lethbridge and having another job?
Thanks, Dale. I started this conversation, again, with respect for everyone in the room. The context you need of the person asking the question is they are helping Blaine's campaign. So I think, you know, this is something that very clearly is meant as an attack. The reality of it is, with a couple of months left on my term, my career took me back here to Lethbridge. So the legal opinion was approved through the city clerk. I was going to do something radical. I know at the time, in 2014, 2025, it's kind of silly to think that this was radical at that time. I was going to Skype into my last 5 meetings. From my sister's basement, and then from my mom's house before we found a home. So that was the issue, that was the challenge. In that period, my wife and kids still lived there, still was a homeowner. In fact, I was so committed to still being present and accountable for my citizens, I flew back several times, including as deputy mayor, to do a ribbon cutting for an opening of a new park. So I was very accessible. Great thing called WestJet, takes you straight to the island now. Great to use digital communication. This was from a small group of disgruntled people who have a long history of making something out of nothing. I wanted to make sure that this was okay for the citizens, and I was still acting on their behalf, and I did everything over and above and beyond to still represent them in those final few months on my term.
Thank you very much, Ryan Meny. I'm seeing no rebuttal cards for that, so we will go back to our media panel, and it is Jeanette. And Jennifer's getting her steps in today.
All right. I'm not sure who to direct this at. It doesn't necessarily matter. Let's see, we'll put it at, oh, Michael's raising his finger. He wants to be asked a question. All right, and anybody can, respond to this. Okay, so in the last civic election in 2021, a referendum question was included in which a majority of residents voted in favor of a ward system, but City Council later decided not to implement it. So there are a couple of incumbent councillors who have moved forward, or I understand are planning to move forward with motions to see Lethbridge go towards a ward system. That's if they are voted back into council. So what are your thoughts about a ward system? Would this be something that you would like to see happen and therefore approve in the future if you were elected mayor?
Thank you. Now I know why I raised my finger before hearing that question. That was definitely for me. I absolutely love the idea of a ward system, and the fact that it didn't go through even as an investigation to study further is, I have no idea what happened. We should look into it, because the people of Lethbridge voted for it, and they didn't even allow an investigation so that we can educate ourselves. 55% of people voted for it before we even had a full investigation, which would have likely led to 85, 95%, because it's so obvious. When a community grows larger and larger and the representation doesn't expand or personalize, people lose representation. It's just like teachers having to deal with 30 students or 40 students and 50 students. More students, still one teacher. So we need more personalized representation, which the ward systems allows and ensures. But for $1, we can get double representation, because that's how much it costs, $1 per month per person to finance city council. So we could increase representation by 2 with $1. Now, for ward systems, that means that you will have someone personally for you that you can make sure has full interaction with you, accessibility. You can know them on first name basis. You can have their phone number. That's what your city council used to be like. The fact that we don't have personalized representation is a sign of our representative democracy degenerating. And cities weren't even made to be this big. There is studies done, sociological or anthropological studies that say a community loses its connection with each other when they grow past like 500 people. We were meant to live in concrete jungles, and in Canada it's even worse because the space is so big.
And
You go back
that's
to
time.
Greece-
Michael. You gotta watch Jonathan. 'Cause
All right.
He's got the cards up there. Let you know.
Thank you, John.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any rebuttals on that? Somebody strongly against the ward system? No? Okay. Then we will go to our audience member at the microphone. And so if you can let us know who the question is directed to and ask it within 30 seconds, please.
K2 Blaine. I've been trying like for 2.5 years to get to talk to you or somebody very close to you. In my neighborhood, there's a lot of different things that I think could be changed. Like you have been talking about expenses, taxes, etc. You know, like, and I'm wondering, say, like projects. I live in the Fairmont area, and on the west side of the Fairmont, there was only about 20 or 30% of the pavement that needed to be worked, but they did the whole doggone thing. It took them about 6 to 8 months to finish it all. Like, it must have cost a heck of a lot of money. Another thing is, how much money are we spending on gas? Same thing on labor.
So is that the question, how much we're spending on gas? Or do you,
Well, I think they're all three. Like, you can pick whichever one you want. But I mean,
okay, so really about spending, city spending. So,
yeah, it's
so
the
Blaine, go
expenses
ahead. Go
that the
ahead.
city's doing, and I don't think that they would need to.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you. And first, thank you very much for the question. First, I want to address what you started, that it's been a couple of years that you haven't been able to get a hold of me, you were stating?
Right, 2.5 years.
And how, I'll chat to you after about that, because that's, I've got something that is a 24-hour response if it comes in through my office, and so I want to make sure that that is taken care of. And I'm sorry, whatever pathway that you took to get that, I'm going to find out if I can chat to you after, please. Regarding some of the funding for if it's gas or paving,
labor,
and some of the questions that you had mentioned, that is an operational thing, and I wish I had the answer for you. But when I talk to you after, I want to get those questions from you, and I'll get a response to you as quick as possible. Unfortunately, I won't be able to have for everybody else here that may want to know that reply, but it's important that I do talk to you about that and get those answers. I don't have the answers as far as why it was paved a large amount or a small amount, but my apologies for not having the answer for that, but I will get that for you and make sure they get back to you. Please catch me after if you could, so we can chat.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Blaine. I'm not seeing any colored cards waving, so we will go back to our media panel. So David Opinko, Lethbridge News Now.
I have a question for Quentin Carlson. What is your stance on separation?
Well, this will be quick. Strongly against. It's going to hurt us more than it's going to help us. We're going to disconnect our market from Canada. They're not going to be happy with us. They're not going to want to help us besides their legal requirements. And it weakens us. We're more affected by what's happening globally, what's happening south of the border, east of the border. So no, I'm strongly against Alberta separation.
All right, thank you very much, Quentin Carlson. Michael? No, yeah, you're out. Unless you want to buy one from one of your co-candidates there, then we're going to go to our microphone at the back.
First of all, I'd like mayor and councilors that are here, maybe you guys could throw a couple extra bucks at the library and we could get a microphone system that actually works. Great job, by the way, running the microphone. This is to Ryan Meny. Received an email from you, and I've got a couple of questions about it. I really don't care about the content of what was in the email. It's what the last couple of sentences are. It says, you're receiving this email because you signed up to receive the occasional email update from our campaign. I'm here to tell you right now, I signed up for nothing. Not from you, not from anybody. So I have no idea where you got my email address. Can you tell me where you got it from and where I actually signed up for your campaign emails?
It's a good question. It's a quick answer. I apologize you received that. I have a team that they source out emails. We did an email blast to, again, my goal is to inform everyone what's going on, share information as best as I can as a communicator. So my apologies for you receiving that, but it's my intent during this campaign period to reach as many people as possible. I see that more as an advantage versus you being left out of the loop. With that said, we were informed by the city clerk, changed the wording. It's our best goal is to only communicate with people that want to receive our communications, that they share, that they don't want to hear from us in the future. We will follow those wishes, and we've adapted the footer of our communications to say that as well.
So you're saying I didn't sign up for anything?
I'm saying you received an email from my
No,
team.
it says on here that I signed up for something to get
we've changed
emails
that
from your
footer.
campaign.
We've changed that communication. That was an error. It wasn't intentional. The latest blasts that have gone out don't say that.
All right, thank you very much. That's the answer. Any rebuttals on that? No?
I got a rebuttal for that.
That's not how it works, but you can go to the mic if you like. But we are going to go back to our media panel. I think it's Joe Manio with the Lethbridge Herald.
This one is for Michael. If elected, how will you ensure that how will you stay engaged with the community outside of election time to stay connected with constituents' needs?
Thank you. That's a wonderful question. My favorite. For the last 35 days, I've been doing live streams for an hour and a half, open to questions and answers, sharing my vision of what's possible, inviting communication at the front steps of City Hall. I'll do that just to make sure that you have better contact with me than I've had with any city councilor or mayor throughout the last. I can't restate this or emphasize this enough. The main component that ensures our representative democracy costs us $1 per month per person. That's the salary for city council. We can double representation. That's how we ensure that you have even more access, more than we've ever had access. I don't know why this is like some sort of a norm across the world or Canada. You're only allowed to have 8 councillors or 10 or 11. It's the main system that we use to ensure that our voice leads to influencing the decision making. So the ward system is absolutely fundamental, and it can be expanded to multiple degrees. Another solution that I propose, and I described in my introduction, is the Citizens Inquiry Office. This means that every single question is followed up and explored together with you in public. We have a citizens inquiry office that accounts, logs, and checks in on making sure every single insight, every single concern, because if we don't have enough staff to handle all the civic engagement, we don't complain about the civic engagement. We increase the staff to handle it so that the people actually have their voices heard. Because we want there to be an overwhelming amount of civic engagement. The 65%
So Michael,
of people that don't vote.
that's your 2 minutes. But I'll give you an extra 20 seconds to tell me, is the problem the number of councillors or is it the access to councillors?
It's one of the same thing. Access to, if there's not enough counselors, it's just like having one teacher for 50 students and they're all trying to get their teacher's attention. We need more counselors because we weren't supposed to grow this fast. But one thing to make sure is that the disenfranchisement and alienation that exists in our community is so beyond approach, and we've become desensitized by it because we thought that it was about them, but it's not. It's a structural issue. 65% of voters don't vote, and it's not because they're apathetic. It's because the system makes them feel like it can't even handle their perspective.
All right.
And it can, structurally.
Thanks, Michael. Okay, we're going to, we've got just inside of 10 minutes here, so we'll probably be able to get one more audience question and then a final question from, and before that, a rebuttal from Blaine.
Just quickly, I wanted to touch base on, and we've got quite a bit over the past few questions about communication, and it's something. Oh, I just skipped off the page now. Is that? Oh yeah. I want to let you know, I truly believe that we have some incredible communicators, and I know that it's we've heard here tonight that that's a struggle, but we have some incredible communicators. As a matter of fact, we have a few different places that this happens. We have a coffee with council when we go out, and I know Councillor Biddle and Hope here and myself had put that together here at the beginning of our term and went to different community areas and just so folks can come and chat to us. So that was one thing. We also have the city engagement session. So you've seen them at the visitlethbridge.com arena and other locations where folks can come. We have all the different services set up there. And then I want to give a shout out to, Councillor Croson, her city tours, and her and I do a lot of the school tours for kids. But when we look at the communication, it says over 90% of the citizens, this is just a review that was done over the summer, over 90% of the citizens equate that they're happy or very happy with the city and the services. So it's saddening to see tonight that seems that there's a lot of comments around the communication side. So please, if this is something I'm going to look into it, but as far as a review, it doesn't show us that. So hearing what I have here tonight, it seems to be something that folks are concerned with. So we want to make sure that we do address that, and thank you for being here and for sharing that with me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Blaine. And then Ryan, this would be your last rebuttal.
Thank you. So I see it as a problem that ties into our growth as a community, as Michael suggested and stated. It's also connected to our need for a ward system, direct representation in the region of the city that we live. There's a lot of noise that's been going on about the bridge, and a lot of people that believe that only benefits or impacts people on the west side. That's not true in itself. You may work on the south side and or live on the south side, work on the west side, or vice versa. You have family, friends, jobs on other parts of the city. You know what you live, and so that truly is also the perspective of a councillor in a ward system, understanding that. But I want to get back to the concept of communication and the breakdown that we have right now, and Lethbridge being treated as a brand versus you being respected as a citizen. We have our departments that are meant to attract and promote Lethbridge, but not our communications department. Our communications department is there to communicate with you, the taxpayer. And when the communication department starts to advocate on Lethbridge is doing pretty good with our level of taxes that no one can afford, by the way, with the increase of house prices the last couple of years combined with the steady tax increases. When you have a communications department that's saying, we're here, we're middle of the pack, it could be worse. Does that make you as the taxpayer who can't afford the next tax hike feel any better? Is that communicating the reality that we are feeling as a community? It is not. And that is not the kind of representation, and that is not the kind of communication that we need from our council and our administration.
All right, thank you very much, Brian. So we're going to go to the audience microphone back there. The person that you're directing a question to, and 30 seconds, and hopefully we can get back to Jeanette for one final media question after that. So go ahead.
I'm going to direct my question to Michael because he seems to be wanting to talk so much. Michael, what is your opinion on the $23 million climate change initiative that was passed by council and being spent on carbon reduction and other initiatives? And what is your position on the influence that the WHO, United Nations, and WEF should have on the policies of our city? And I'd love to hear from anybody else who wants to review. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Michael.
Thank you. Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum said he has penetrated every level of governments of Canada. We should be worried about that. We shouldn't be having decisions made for us from international whatever. And everything, we should promote local sovereignty as much as possible in respect, and taking into account the treaties and the covenants that we've made with the First Nations people. As far as climate change, it makes me nervous when I hear trust the science from globalists. What I would recommend is we deal with the pollution. The pollution is the issue that is not being argued by anyone. The pollution is where we can unite, and that makes everything so much easier to talk about, because everything else is highly weaponized terminology that is meant to divide the people on issues that they could be united around. Like, why can't we drink water? Like, why can't our...
Good evening. The library is closing.
Nothing we can do about that. I think you still got 30 seconds or so.
So I would be very wary about any finances that come into our community to nudge us into issues or changes that want to be made by people outside of our community. And anything that's controversial, we should be having forums to verify and have debates to ensure that those on both sides of the argument and the best of those on both sides of the argument are heard. Like academic debates. Let's make academic debates cool again.
Great. Thanks very much, Michael. Quentin or Blaine, rebuttal on that, or we're just going to get our last question from Jeanette, and so you got a bet, right, on that one, or Jeanette's question. So, okay, we'll go to Jeanette.
This one I'll throw at Quentin. This was a bit of a contentious issue a year or two ago. What, Quentin, is your opinion about how the city has implemented its bike lanes? Is there anything that you would have done differently?
Yeah. A lot of the bike lanes don't seem effective for the people using them. We need an infrastructure that makes people want to use it. So when you're biking between parked cars and people on the sidewalk, you're not, it's not a design that people want to use. Same with 7th Ave. We need these bike lanes to be protected. We need bike lanes that get people where they need to go and not just driving in circles down 7th Ave. So, yeah, I do like bike lanes, sorry. We need to reduce the amount of people driving cars to reduce the pollution. And I think that it's just a matter of the infrastructure being designed to be used, as opposed to being designed to be there. Thank you.
Thank you, Quentin. Blaine, do you want to play that rebuttal card? It's the last card? No? Okay. Then we are going to, that concludes our question and answer period. And so we're going to get into closing remarks in just a moment. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to give a closing statement. Before we do that, I'd just like to give some thanks. So first of all, I'd like to thank each of the candidates for being here tonight and answering questions. You did it in a very spirited but civil fashion. Some of you took some really direct questions. None of you shied away from those, and I think the audience really appreciates that. So let's give them a hand. As always, I'd like to thank the members of the media panel, so Jeanette Roche with Bridge City News, Joe Manio with Lethbridge Herald, and David Opinko with Lethbridge News Now. You know, we see a lot of talk about, you know, the fake news and general distrust of the media that gets sown by some politicians here in Canada and elsewhere. But your insight, your understanding of the issues, your attention to the details and the issues at play is indispensable. And so we couldn't really do this without you. So let's give our media panel a hand. Big thanks to Jonathan and Jennifer and the library staff, including the PA announcer, for putting this on and having us here. Let's hear it for the library, please. And thank you to all of you for being here tonight. You're the ones who are going to decide sort of the direction of Lethbridge over the next 4 years, what our leadership is going to look like, and what issues and concerns they need to be concerned about. So you being here and making those things known is the essence of democracy. And so thank you very much for being here. Give yourselves a round of applause. So without further ado, we will go to our candidates for their closing statements. We're going to go reverse order from the opening statements. So that means we'll hear from Michael Petrakis first. Michael, 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Truly, it's a humbling honor. Before I begin my closing speech, I just wanted to say, regarding the top-down decision-making happening that we just hear about last minute, everybody here recognizes how important elections are. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. But did you know that our entire election process changed last year? Did you vote for it? Do you know who's counting the votes? Not machines, people. And they're being trained right now to do it. But in the name of greater accuracy. And yet, why are they not using the automatic voting system as complementary? You know, like a second opinion regarding the technology we've been using for, I don't know, 3 decades? We just dumped it. And along the way, in response to the 65% of people that don't vote, who could vote, we decreased the number of voting stations from like 14 to 3. How is that going to endorse more civic engagement? We're literally ignoring the elephant in the room, and that's the fact that 50,000 voters don't vote. That's what 65% represents. So I highly recommend we look at, because if this, I don't even know if this counts. Are the votes going to be counted? I don't know. So what began tonight as a campaign is really something deeper. A chance to build the civic infrastructure our democracy has been missing. Because fairness isn't theory, it's design. And the blueprint is already here, in our people, in our questions, in our courage. The infinity key, a discovery that has been made in Lethbridge, which as far as I can tell, it's going to change human history, is the first principle of first principles. The Logos made civic law, a compass of truth, proving that courageous humility is sincere inquiry. Every great answer begins with a better question. And the greatest question we can ask together is simple. What is the greatest question I can ask right now? That question, asked honestly, verified publicly, is the heartbeat of good government. The unemployment cost burden shows what happens when we lose that compass. Over $1 billion a year in suffering, waste, and lost potential.
And that's 3 minutes, Michael.
We can keep bleeding potential, or we can make Lethbridge the first coherent city in history. A city reborn from within. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael Petrakis. That will take us to Ryan Meny. 3 minutes for your closing statement, Ryan.
Thank you. Before I begin, again, like my introduction, I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate the openness that we've been able to discuss things with you tonight. And what this time of year means, I really want to put it into perspective again. Good governance, local government leadership academy. You know what a municipal election is about. There's work that's been done in this community. This is not a critique of individuals. This is not a critique of personalities. This is not a critique of your friends and neighbors. This is, how did your previous council do in the last 4 years? And based on that, where do you want to see this community go? Lethbridge has always been a city where we look out for each other. But somewhere in the past 4 years, our leaders stopped looking out for us. 4 years ago, you were promised to focus on Lethbridge businesses, fiscal responsibility, and public safety. Instead, your property taxes have been raised to unsustainable levels. Over 4,000